Welcome to the F Factor 14 to 18-year-old national final at the Founders of the Future Forum. I'm your host, Pierre Nidohungwa, co-founders of Founders of the Future, and I'm really excited to host the second 14 to 18-year-old national final as we created the category 2 years ago. So for those who are already in the 19-25-year-old national final, sorry, I'm going to repeat myself a little bit, but for those who don't know, the F Factor is Founders of the Future nationwide startup competition for under 25 aspiring entrepreneurs promoting entrepreneurship and social impact using the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals as a framework. So we believe that the next generation of founders should be purpose-driven. So we've been really heavily promoting the UN SDGs throughout the whole competition. And this is not. Sorry about that. We have a bit of echo on the background. So this is not a mandatory thing for the participants to work on that, but impact is one of the 5 judging criteria that we are assessing the participants across the whole competition. So they're strongly incentivized to do so. So how did our finalists get there? So it was a long road taking us from October 2019, which might made longer because of COVID, but there are 3 other rounds of judging to go through before that. We started with online qualifiers. We had 150 applicants for the 14 to 18-year-old category, 600 in total, where people applied online, described their idea in 2 sentences, put a link to a prototype or seemingly working prototype, just mock-ups, and then a 2-minute pitch. Out of that, we narrowed that down to kind of 100 in total regional semi-finalists, and they did a live online pitch with questions to judges that were sitting in our office. And then we narrowed that down to 40 projects. So it was 15 then left for the 14 to 18-year-old that did the regional finals, which were 5 standalone events. And that was in March 2020. So we were just lucky enough to be able to do 4 of those 5 as physical events in Edinburgh, Birmingham, Bristol, and Manchester. And we had to turn our London event really quickly into an online event. And so the finalists you're going to see are all winner of the regional final. They already got £1,000 of equity-free cash but for winning the regional final. And now they're going to compete for the grand of £10,000. So before we get started, I'd like just to thank our sponsors that have supported the F Factor throughout the whole year. Life Skills, which is a program by Barclays to help teenagers and young adults in their career and personal development. And EY, where we work with the Employer Brand team and the Entrepreneur of the Year team. And you've heard from Joanna Santinen, partner of the Entrepreneur of the Year in the 19 to 25-year-old final. So now to kick things off, I'll just get our judges, our really great panel of judges to introduce themselves. So I'll get Reshma first to just say a few words of introduction and maybe a few words of encouragement as well for our finalists.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I'll go first. My name is Reshma Sohoni. I am co-founder of Seedcamp. We are Europe's seed fund. So we focus all across Europe, and we try to write the first checks. So 100,000 to 500,000 pounds into companies. And we certainly have a few that address some of the sustainability goals. So I'm really excited to hear your presentations today. And maybe you'll be one of our future entrepreneurs. So really thrilled, and congratulations already. You've come a long way to be here. Thank you.
Can you get you to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Jamieson, and I'm the founder and CEO of The Dots. We're a professional network that for people who don't wear suits to work, and folks called us the next LinkedIn. I guess I'm really excited about today because, we've put kind of social purpose and ethics at the heart of The Dots and tried to really build an antithesis to the existing social media platforms that exist. So I'm always inspired by other founders that are putting social purpose at their core. So I can't wait to see the projects, and you'll all nail it.
And now, last but not least, Barry.
Hello, I'm Barry Smith. I'm originally the founder of Skyscanner, co-founder of Skyscanner, which is a search engine for flights, hotel, and travel-based stuff. My latest company is a production company in the sports and esports space called Noah Media Group. We make high-quality content, including TV shows and films, and then use data to optimally help distribute those across many platforms around the world. Thrilled to be invited. I think this is my 4th or 5th one on the voting panel for this kind of stuff for Founders of the Future. So congrats to everyone getting onto this stage, and really looking forward to seeing what you have.
And yes, Barry, 5th time. And Barry, with myself and Brent, we're the only 3 speakers who have been at every single Founders of the Future forum. So we really thank you for that, and hope we can do for the next 5 more and the next 5 years.
I need to
so more. Yeah. So now let's get started. So each participant will have 3 minutes to present, followed by 3 minutes of questions with the judges. And they're going to share their slides. So to start, we're going to have Sasha from Eat It. So Sasha, if you can turn your video on, and when you're ready to share your screen, I'm going to take the time.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so today I would like to present to you Eat It, an app which turns sustainable shopping into a game. So 29% of the global greenhouse gas outputs come from food systems. It is the 3rd most wasteful industry in the world and one of the most controversial ones. The problem can be divided into 3 main sub-problems: a lack of information, motivation, and a lack of marketing for sustainable food brands. My solution is a mobile app where shoppers can get climate data about every food they buy, compete for the most sustainable purchases, and join a community of like-minded people supporting a greener future. So there is more than 121,000 searches in the UK per month for sustainably farmed and packaged foods, with 84% of UK teens thinking they need more information to act on climate change. The market size is very big and is rapidly growing, with more than £2 billion being the total available market, and there being more than 17 million potential annual app users between the ages of 13 and 40. So here is my app, Eat It. And with the app, you'll be able to scan your foods, get the data about every single ingredient, make purchases, and share your score achievements as well as personal favorite brands with the wider community. The business model is very simple. We promote food brands, cafes, and restaurants which share our values for a 15% commission fee of each sale. And by marketing for what we believe in, sustainable brands can increase the number of customers and so can grow, while you can buy what you believe in. So there's more than £144 million worth of eco-food purchases per year, with a possible annual revenue being more than £17 million. The Launch and Go strategy consists of partnerships with similar apps which also value ecology, and also by participating in global events such as the Global Climate Strike, and by collaborating with schools and universities all over the United Kingdom. For competitive advantages, well, we're the first to the market and we form a community both online and offline. We also give visual data representation and ample information about every product, and we're easy to use with a simple barcode scanning system. With the previous F-Factor money, I was able to do so much. I could analyze the audience and the market, complete the design of the app, and get access to all of the databases I needed, as well as get to the final stages of MVP development, which will be ready in 2 weeks, and start the app development. And with further funding from F-Factor, I will be able to move my app from an MVP to a real functioning app by November or early December. I will be able to conduct a launch by December 2020. and with the right marketing, be able to achieve 1,000 users by about January, and then further grow and improve my app so that as many people as possible can enjoy sustainable shopping every single day. Thank you very much for listening.
All right, amazing. Well done, Sasha, to the seconds. So now I'd like to invite the judges to turn their camera on, and we're going to have 3 minutes of questions with the judges.
Can I ask first? Is that okay?
Yes,
Great.
Go ahead.
Really nice presentation, very clean and just very easy to follow. We've actually seen a few startups pitch kind of around the space too. And the question I have, and we've always struggled with, is you talk about kind of getting the information around the ingredients. And so curious about that is, I think we find the source of truth, like what's really the ingredients and what's the climate sort of elements of it, really hard to know. So curious kind of where you're going to get that information, and have you already researched if it's free and so forth?
Yeah, okay. So this has been actually a very big topic for me too. So I've got 3 main databases. So obviously the first one is the QR codes and the barcodes. So that comes from the business, energy and industrial strategy departments from the government. And I've contacted them and I've got access to the trial version of the database, and they're releasing the full version when I'm starting to do my app. The second question is obviously the ingredients. So I was able to collaborate with a Kotak founder, and he was doing an analysis of the ingredients of all the foods in the UK, and it's called My Food Data, and it's a website, and it's also a very big database, and he's given me complete rights and access to it. And finally, of course, the company policies and the water intake, carbon dioxide, and just the general ecology ratings. So that comes from Clean Metrics. And I've also written to them, and they've given me access to all the data for both the MVP and obviously for the real app.
By the way, that presentation was absolutely incredible. I wish I pitched that well when I first started. But yeah, well done. Yeah, I guess my question is, the key that I found to starting businesses is getting feedback as quickly as possible from the people that we're, providing for. And so we're a two-sided market as well. So we look after our community, but our clients are people hiring our community. So have you started getting feedback, real world feedback? And what's the feedback been?
Yes. So I wanted to get feedback not only from my users, but also from some brands who like to be using it. So for the users, the first thing I did is I went to the climate protests and the people who are really into just protecting the environment, give it their all. And I just told them my app idea and asked for what would they like. And then they were actually the people who said, okay, let's add some gamification. Let's make like the point system. So I was able to get some ideas from them. And the next thing which I did was I've contacted a few small food brands, which really value sustainability, and I've said, do you have troubles with marketing? And well, they've said that marketing on social media is very hard because there's loads of competitors who are big and who will have more budget than them, and they've said they would really like a marketing platform. So I thought, well, that's a perfect place to kind of unite the two wishes and bring them into an app.
Brilliant, thank you.
Yeah, great presentation. Loved it. My question is around sort of product pricing and the actual fulfillment of the purchases. I think we're still in a fairly nascent position with regards to the amount of people who want to do and buy the right stuff, and then weighing it off against convenience and cost. So, are there enough products at the moment at a decent price point that enough people will use this for their full shopping basket? And then leading on to that, the fulfillment wasn't really clear from your presentation because it said purchased, but does that mean you've scanned this and then you're buying? It's an online fulfillment, or you're using different suppliers for that? Okay, so I think I will address your first question first. Sure. So that's about the purchases, and are there actually enough products, right? Yes. So as I've seen in the UK, there's a lot more people who are willing to pay slightly more, about 15 to 20% more for ecologically sustainable foods. But ultimately, the brands are lowering their prices. And that's why the market is growing and more people are purchasing eco-friendly goods. And in total per year, £2.4 billion is spent by people on eco-friendly products in general. So that's clearly, people can clearly afford it. And also, as the market is growing and the prices are going down, that works. Sure.
And for the second thing, we're talking about the commission. Like, how am I going to do that? Or
so you're not having to buy inventory and sell it, I take it. You're selling other people's products. So where does that fulfillment come from?
Sorry, I don't really understand.
So who supplies? So if I go on to your app and I've bought 10 items, all sustainable, who is it that's actually sending me those products?
All right. Well, you see, so the way my app works is that you go to, like, let's say a supermarket or a cafe, and then you just scan the barcode of the food, and it works by reference marketing. So the app tracks down the scanning of the barcode and which brand it is, and then it like, let's say you bought it for a certain price, 50% of that price would go to me as the seller, and then the rest of it would go to whoever the supplier of the product is.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Sasha. It's not easy to pitch first. So now we're gonna move to our second presentation, who is going to be actually a duo, Karam and George, who are presenting Kinga Co, and they're representing Southeast and Southwest region. I didn't think I say for Sasha, we're representing Greater London. So Karam and George, please turn your video on. And when you're ready to share your screen, I'll start the timer.
All right. Okay.
All right.
We first entered the F Factor last December. The idea of Kinga Co becoming a reality was just a dream. We had noticed the pollution that batteries, and more specifically the chemicals inside batteries, can cause to the planet. In America alone, 180,000 tons of batteries are disposed of yearly.
To put this into proportion, a single smartphone battery is enough to pollute 600,000 litres of water. After noticing this problem, Karam and I came up with a solution involving alternative energies via the use of piezoelectricity, and now we can begin to design a battery-free gaming controller.
This design can be implemented into many other devices that require batteries, such as remote controllers. However, we intend to begin with the gaming controllers, not only because the market is worth over $10 billion, but because we, as teenagers, inherently have a lot of knowledge about the consumers of game controllers and how to manufacture and advertise to them successfully.
In the F Factor online qualifiers, we had designed a small circuit which had the effect of turning on an LED light without the use of any batteries. And it was from then on, our main point of research was trying to figure out a way to amplify the voltage so that instead of powering a small LED light, we could power the 3.85 voltages required for a gaming controller.
The prize money was then the catalyst that allowed us to begin making a prototype, which involved the controller itself. And we can truly say that it was the motivation, support, and finance of the F Factor competition that allowed us to go from this to this. A controller which can self-sustain itself, as shown by the up to 15 volt reading on the multimeter, without the need of batteries, which we can truly call a battery-free gaming controller.
And the future of the company is bright. If we win the £10,000 investment, the large majority of the money would be invested into patenting our idea, making sure the idea is protected, and the remaining £3,000 will be used to build a website where the product will eventually be sold, as well as using it to partially fund for manufacturing in China.
Once we can then get a quote on how much each unit will cost, which we estimate to be around £30 per unit, we'll then sell each controller for an initial price of £50 for the first 1,000 units, building up the product's credibility before selling them at the full price of £100 each, once the product is trusted and has a good reputation. This is the last thing we intend to do before we exit the phase of research and development and release our environmentally friendly gaming controllers. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much to Kinga Co, Karam and George. So now if you can stop sharing your screen, and then we're gonna have the judges to ask questions for 3 minutes.
I'm happy to go first.
Yeah, go Pip.
Oh, brilliant. So well done, fellas. That was awesome. Yeah, quick question. Why would you believe that another gaming company wouldn't do this? And do you know if they are doing this, or if they're thinking about doing this, or why hasn't it come on their radar if they aren't?
No, so obviously the reason we're patenting it is because we don't want any other company to do this. And when we actually look into what has been done with this before, there have been attempts, for example, from Nintendo, I think, a long time ago, but that didn't fail. The difference here is that we have a circuit that we can patent that will turn the small piezoelectric current into something that can actually power an entire controller.
Okay, great. Thank you.
This blows my mind. So congrats on building a prototype that works. Hardware can be pretty brutal. I guess the one thing on the technology that is interesting to me is it staggers me that there's enough charge that can be created that can keep a controller going for however, I'm thinking, how many hours have I got to play before this controller can look after itself? And I guess with a lot of clean energy initiatives, it's not about just creating that charge, it's can it be stored for long enough? So have you considered the storage as well as the generation?
The controller, the charge would be created in the controller using the piezoelectric components.
Yeah.
And half of the energy would be directed to the actual thing that needs to be
the circuit.
Yeah, the circuit. And half of it would go to the capacitor. So the capacitor would store up the charge and then keep the charge for any circuit cutouts that it might happen while you're playing that game.
Great. Thank you.
In terms of, you mentioned sort of China, and I think as Barry said, hardware is hard and it's a brutal market. So do you have special sort of connections into the region to help you guys do the initial sort of production? And I know a lot of things out there, they want certain volume before you get the really good manufacturers.
Yeah.
What's your kind of way to work with that market and help you guys, not lose time and money in the early manufacturing?
So obviously we're looking to contact a sourcing agent, which is the main point of contact, who then go off and individually talk to separate manufacturers. We've researched what sourcing agents there are, but we haven't been able to talk to them much because if we release the idea too much, obviously we haven't patented that idea yet. So obviously it could be stolen and then the design could be gone for us really. So our main plan for now is contacting a sourcing agent once we finish the patenting, seeing the cost of manufacturing per unit and going forward from there.
Amazing. So that's just 3 minutes. So congratulations to Karam and George for their presentation. So now we're going to move up to the third presenter, who is going to be Criffan with Easy Charge. And Criffan is representing the Scotland and Northern Ireland region. So Criffan, you can turn your camera on, and when you're ready to go, I'll put the timer.
Okay. All right. Hello, my name is Criffan, and I'm here to tell you how Easy Charge is set to revolutionize the way we use electric cars. Why do we insist on using petrol and diesel cars? Do we like producing harmful greenhouse gases? We know we need to stop burning hydrocarbons. We need to go electric, but we are scared. Why? Because of range anxiety. The single biggest fear with electric cars is range anxiety. People run out of petrol in normal cars, so imagine the journey planning that goes into an electric car journey. The idea came to me when I saw a charger in a driveway behind my school not being used. Why couldn't the teacher use that during the day and have left before the owner gets home? That is Easy Charge. I spoke to other electric car users, potential buyers, and teachers in my school. The feedback was fantastic. They could immediately see how easy it would be to implement. Did you know there are only 337 public chargers in all of Northern Ireland? So what happens when the 338th person wants to charge their car? Something has to change. Due to the impact of COVID-19, there is now strict social distancing enforced in all walks of life. This means less people using public transport, and less public transport means a rise in personal vehicle use, which means more cars out during the day and more chargers free for Easy Charge users. How does it work? Well, the app tells the community where the charge point is, when it is available, and the type of power it supplies. You book a charge just like booking a stay in a hotel, and Google Maps guides you to the location. It's the Airbnb of charge points, and this idea will really work since people already rent out their driveways to commuters if they live near a subway station or train station. As we know, the internet is great at growing communities, and as the Easy Charge community grows, more chargers will be available. I'll get revenue from the money we earned from renting the charging spaces out to the public. The money is split between the owner of the charger and the company. An algorithm works out the price of the charge based on the time of use, type of vehicle, and the daily cost of electricity. I'll get traction for this app through the Northern Ireland councils, and I'm already in contact with eCarNI, the local electric car promotion agency. I also contact local radio stations in order to speak about my app on the breakfast and evening shows. As for the prize money, COVID had put some of my sales and marketing on hold. The garages were closed and work experience was postponed. I was due to fly out to the US for an exchange visit, and I was going to do further research there. The £10,000 will further expand my marketing plans for Easy Charge and help build the app and website along with it. And why me? Well, I've been working at Coda Dojo for 4 years, and I've represented my dojo at the Coolest Projects exhibition in Dublin. I've also entered previous competitions, been a finalist for lots of them. Someone will be the Airbnb for electric cars, and I want it to be me. Thank you for listening.
Amazing. Right at 3 minutes. So now a question with judges, another 3 minutes.
Yeah, I'll go. Very good. Very good. So it's essentially the search engine for finding these rather than you putting these into place, right? So with all two-sided marketplaces, you need to build up the supply and the demand fairly quickly. So how do you prepare to grow the demand, and how do you ensure you have enough of these people signed up to you for the first time I go to your app? I need to know that I'm going to get the result I want.
Well, the first thing that I'm going to do is, as we're starting, I'm going to find freely available chargers already. So for example, public chargers, and use it as an app system to display these public chargers to everyone. So they'll say that this is the nearest charger to you. And then as the app grows a little bit more and it gets more traction, more people will be open to giving their chargers out to the public. And then it'll just create a knock-on effect of growth. With more people using other people's chargers, it'll create an Easy Charge community and build upon itself.
Very good. Thank you.
Great. Well done. That was awesome. I love that concept. Yeah, my question would be, so you're an engineer, you're a coder yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Have you started building it at all?
I actually have. So I have a prototype for the app, which I displayed on a previous slide. Yeah. And then actually over lockdown, since I thought I have a lot of free time, I decided to build a website along with it. The website includes HTML front end, CSS, along with some JavaScript and an SQL database to go along with it at the back end.
Amazing. And how are you feeling about the app? Are you happy with it?
I'm actually very happy with the app, and I've spoken to a lot more people over the lockdown as well. And they say it wouldn't just be a good app, it would be beneficial for them. Because as we all know, there's a lot of NHS healthcare workers who are having to go in every day, when other people don't. And if there was possibly free chargers outside their places of work, I'm sure any member of the public would be happy to let an NHS user use their charger. They would move their car out of the way, and that would be one other way to build in the app.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I think I did get it actually at the end, which is the Airbnb for this. So I think that was a very good analogy to kind of help people picture what you're doing. Do you plan to kind of do this solo, or what do you think? What are some of the things maybe you struggle with or you're lacking, and what kind of team would you like to build around you?
Well, obviously the main thing I like to build is a marketing team, because it's always hardest part of getting a startup is getting it out to everybody. And along with that, as I build up the marketing team and the app grows, I would like to further build upon not just the app myself, but I'd like to get a development team as well. So I have very basic app ideas, and I'm one person trying to build this with my knowledge. So I'd love to expand upon it, get different points of views, and just basically see what everyone else has to say. And then apart from the development and marketing, I'd like a social team as well. So a team who can work with people who possibly have an issue with Easy Charge. Maybe their charger isn't showing up as much as other people's, and we could give them reasoning for that and help them work through it.
Cool. And I would say, products like this, we're big believers in really getting a wonderful designer. That could be you, or that could be someone you hire, because it's that whole experience for both those sides of your app users, right? So yeah, definitely would say, get that kind of person on board. Good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Second that one.
Amazing. Well, thank you very much, Griffin. And now we're going to go to our next pitch, fourth pitch, and it's going to be Joel with Opportunistic. And Joel is representing the Northeast, Northwest, and Yorkshire region. So whenever you're ready to share your screen and to start, I'm going to start the timer.
Can everyone see that?
Yeah.
Thanks. Hello, I'm really grateful to be able to present Opportunistic to you today. So we have a massive problem in this country of a disconnect between opportunities for young people and young people's knowledge of them. This comes alongside huge youth funding cuts, a rise in knife crime, and most importantly for me, a government that is failing young people in terms of their own mental health. So how do we solve the disconnect? Opportunistic UK is the online hub for people aged 14 to 25. It allows opportunity providers to put themselves on there for young people to see, contact, and add to their favourites. These opportunities could be anything from youth clubs, groups, jobs, helpful websites, support facilities in the community, and events. Technology can be used to benefit a generation that is already so used to going online. Here are some screenshots of what the website currently looks like. I've never actually built a website before, but I spent a couple of months trying my best, and this is what I've got so far. And this is what an individual opportunity would look like. Opportunistic now has a clear plan for the coming months. As things start to reopen, I hope to carry out small regional trials, one in my own area and a few in areas that have different needs and problems. For example, I've been having promising talks with a project in a rural area of Scotland in the Black Isle. Using these trials, the website can be turned into something genuinely life-changing for thousands of young people. And I believe that with the help of youth councils and the national charity Young Advisors who I work for, Opportunistic can gradually spread nationally. When Opportunistic has a foothold in the UK, we will introduce a freemium model in which young people can gain more features in return for a small subscription fee. Other ways of generating revenue include corporate packages for schools and paid job listings. There are many people in the UK desperate to help young people, but these can never be seen as competition because we are all working in different ways to reduce inequalities of young people's chances. Opportunistics helps many of the global goals indirectly, but we will always strive for reduced inequalities and sustainable communities, which young people are at the heart of. Thank you so much for your time. I could genuinely go on about this all day, and I'm so excited for the future of Opportunistic, and I hope you are too. And I know I've spoken very fast, but thank you for listening.
Oh, thank you, Joel. Now, questions from the judges.
Yeah. I was interested in why you decided to go with a subscription, only because my question being, young people, they already probably don't have lots of money to spend, and spending money on something you don't know if it's going to work. Did you think about maybe if they are the first 3 months into a job, then taking some of that month's salary as a portion of it rather than subscription, or how did you come to that decision?
Yeah, definitely. So I did some market research as well. And then if I'm able to show you a slide, the availability of what young people will get from a small subscription fee of £1.99 or £2.99 a month is huge. And it'll be able to boost their university options and get them more involved in the community and make we also wanted to reinvest a lot of the money we raise back into the communities that need it most. So the young people will actually be benefited more from the more young people pay into it, the more they get back from it. But that's only one of the sources of income. Sorry, thanks.
I don't know. You're not speaking too fast or anything like that. You're doing brilliantly, and this is a thing that's very close to my heart as well. The challenge, obviously, and it's been mentioned before, is with the two-sided marketplaces, is building one to the other, and one we obviously do jobs on the dots, and people who, when they're first using a product, are very time poor, and you've got to kind of help them find massive value to actually engage. Have you spoken to any of the kind of opportunity suppliers, and have you started trying to work out what will incentivize them while you're growing in those early days to actually engage and list and be a part of it?
Yeah, so a lot of the people we've spoken to aren't necessarily the best at social media. So for them, it's almost a way of free advertising, especially for the youth groups and the mental health support. That isn't necessarily making us money from them, but the young people will benefit from that. We've spoken to national charities like Everton in the community who've been really, really positive, and individual projects that have been really receptive to it. So that's been great.
Amazing. Thank you.
Joel, are you planning to do any validation on either the candidate side or the companies or the entities putting out these job postings to start with, or at least having some form of rating system to ensure that the jobs being offered, are doing everything they should be doing with regards to benefits and, minimum wage and all this kind of stuff, to make sure everything's being done as it should be?
Yeah, so jobs aren't the focus at the start of it. It's more youth groups and stuff. But for the safety of users, it goes to an admin. And when we've verified the opportunity, an orange tick appears on their listing, so everyone can see. But it also goes through a process. We also do admin before it even goes on the site, before it gets verified. There aren't currently any jobs on there, but there will be in the future. And when we get to that stage, there will have to be better policies in place.
And do you see that as something that you'll be able to scale? Because obviously that would be quite time consuming.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of the most important thing, and it's the most important thing to invest in, because the safety of people using it and young people has got to be the priority for things like this.
Okay.
And there's also a rating system on the website as well, so people that go to the youth groups and stuff can rate it themselves and give it a star rating and write their own reviews.
Great. Okay, thanks.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Joel. So now, last but not least, we have Daisy, who is going to present Greenwald Travel, and Daisy is representing the Midlands, Wales, and Eastern region. So whenever you're ready.
Yeah. Hello, my name is Daisy Nicole, and I'm an 18-year-old entrepreneur with experience in Facebook advertising, social media marketing, and e-commerce. And I've been actually planning my gap year for this year. And in the midst of my research, I found the implications of international travel on the environment to be pretty staggering. Before the pandemic, the following information was released on this topic. So 2.5% of the world's CO2 emissions come from air travel, alongside a projected 7% increase of international tourism per year, with starting from 2018's all-time high figure of 1.4 billion international tourists. So in 2023, 2 billion people, or a quarter of our world's population, will be traveling internationally, and obviously worsening the climate crisis. So this is clearly unsustainable, and we need a solution to work alongside this. So I'd like to introduce my idea, the Greenwald Travel application. The platform connects consumers with easily accessible information surrounding sustainability of their travel methods to allow them to make informed decisions about their travel plans. So this means providing data about the emissions, but also how companies are offsetting their emissions they're producing by travel for each company, because obviously it's different for everybody, and how they're becoming more environmentally friendly. It also has features which will allow you to choose locations based on your interest, where you currently are, and a news feed on the industry. So this is really important now for, especially after Corona, when the free movement will be permitted again, because new methods of transport, holiday destinations, and technological advances will have come into play to allow these companies to survive through the current situation. This means data which was previously applicable in the industry may not still hold true, and consumers need to be updated on this information to help them to make informed decisions. So I chose to target the millennial generation and older, as during my market research, I actually did find that consumers of my own generation found cost and location to be a higher priority than sustainability when booking their travels. So the cost of the platform is $5,000 to develop, plus $500 per month for hosting, and $250 for marketing prior to launch.
And the revenue, it will initially be generated through affiliate marketing, as it's something I have experience in. And I found that it will be a faster way to generate revenue until I can build up a database of information which is accurate, which I can sell to other companies in the travel industry, such as On the Beach, to help consumers make informed decisions when booking through them. So in terms of competition, there is no easy to find competition online in the App Store, things like that. However, there are companies which provide information based on either location or by hotel brand, things like that. And those are the companies I hope to turn from competition to collaborations. And winning the F Factor would help me to raise the funds to start the development of the application and help fund my mission to reduce the impact of global air travel on the environment. Thank you.
Well done, Daisy, with 3 seconds to spare. So now 3 minutes of question with the judges.
I'm happy to go on this one.
Well, it's got to start with Barry, right?
A little bit nervous.
No, okay, I've got 15 questions for you here, but I've only got one. So, you're really specific on break-even being 11.5 months.
Yes.
So if you reverse engineer that, you must have done how many users you must need in order to get a particular conversion rate and average sale on commission. Can you give me some top level numbers on what your expectation would be for year one?
Sure. So it does depend, obviously, because starting with affiliate marketing, it depends on the percentage of commission and obviously the flight which people are taking. So obviously, if they're flying long haul, they could be spending currently around £400 from Birmingham to New York. 50% of that is 200. So obviously it would take that's 50 flights in order to somewhat just over break-even point. So obviously currently it is a difficult thing to predict due to Corona. So maybe I was considering recently shifting the focus more onto national travel, because obviously commuters going back to work, things like that. So obviously it will be different because the price of traveling nationally is a lot smaller than traveling internationally.
Great. Thank you.
I think, kudos. I think this is a tough topic, right? I think a lot of people try to sort of ignore this because travel is exciting. And so actually that goes to the heart of my question, which is, if you have to commute or if you need to travel, they're often, what is the alternative really? I guess, yes, we can do more of these Zoom things and all that, but it's a tough one where it's easier to ignore and try to do other things with our carbon footprint. So would you say, in terms of using your website, using your app, will I always have a better choice when I go through and find a better option for wherever I need to get from point A to point B?
Sure. So I think there is a big preconception about travel, which is that all travel is bad. And actually the reality is that some travel is worse than others. So I think it's about finding whether you're using the best option, because you can't always be have zero pollution, no emissions. It's always going to be somewhat bad for the environment until developments are made. So I think it's about shifting the mindset of trying to get people to change their habits, because you just can't do that. People have got into routine. So getting them to have options where it's super easy for them to be like, okay, well, I know that I'd be taking the train from here to here. Is there a better train line to go with? Is there a better route to take? And with developments like HS2, it's definitely something to consider how they're going to be doing it, especially in the time where climate is just such a big thing in society. And it's just finding the better option, because you can't always offset yourself, but you can always try to make the better choice.
No, I think, yeah. And I think, so one element that sort of complicates, but I think good to know before you start is you will have a part your app will be education as well as convincing people to use it, right? And so something to think about too as you're thinking about kind of user experience of the app. And cool.
Perfect. Yes, thank you.
Daisy, I absolutely love this. As someone who made my New Year's resolution was to become carbon neutral this year, and then spent so much time researching how to reduce my carbon footprint and how to do carbon offset, I ended up buying a wood and I now plant trees on Sundays because it's an easier way. But anyway, what I love is, if I had a decision between going with one airline or the other, and based on carbon, I would definitely choose the better one. So I totally get that. So I guess, you say you want to start building the app. So what's your kind of product roadmap for that? And who do you need to help you do that?
Sure. So obviously my expertise lie in marketing, so that's not a problem. And I think building up an email list is just absolutely gold. So having a list of people who you can straight up bring it to the market and know that they're going to download. I think product designers, which I actually have a couple of connections to, people who can develop this kind of thing. There is a company I have in mind, but obviously it's good to get quotes from all over, just to make sure that you're making the most of it and making sure that your break-even time is as high as possible. But I think just having people with kind of expertise in the industry would be perfect, because you never know. You can look for this information through their websites, through the information they're releasing on sustainability, how they're offsetting these things. But I think it's important to have those direct connections, so you're getting like the right information for the right kind of product that you're promoting.
Okay, awesome. And by the way, I'm a non-tech founder who started. So I think the hardest thing I've ever done is build up my tech team. So definitely laser focus on building a team. Maybe not outsource, but find something, a partner who can help you.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right. So we are out of time. And so thank you so much, Daisy, for your presentation. And thank you to all the participants. It's really not easy, and definitely when you're less than 18 years old. And thank you to all the judges. And now we're going to take our judges backstage to decide who is going to be the winner. So make sure to tune in at 7:15. This is when we're going to announce the winner of both categories. And also now we're heading for the next session of Founders of the Future Forum. We have a networking break for 20 minutes. And don't miss at 5:40, former CEO and chairman of Google, Eric Schmidt, who's going to be a conversation about why future founders should solve the world's biggest problems. So don't miss that. And see you soon. Thank you, everyone.